Hi, I'm Ashley Biggers. I'm a freelance journalist who teaches creative entrepreneurs and small business owners how to pitch the press and earn media coverage. Today we're talking about ways to help the media find your business without pitching. Now I can already hear you wondering, but your whole thing is teaching people how to pitch the media. Why are you talking about how creatives and small business owners can be found without pitching? Because I want you to have the best resources available. I'm passionate about breaking down those barriers between small business owners and the press, and in some cases that means pointing out that you don't necessarily have to pitch. Now, are you making journalists' job a lot easier if you do? Yes, but journalists are looking for stories all the time, and they may just happen upon yours if you do some of the following. First off, be excellent. Now, I know that's a lot easier said than done, right? But here's what I know. If you have an excellent product or service, if you're making fascinating art, if you're approaching the business world in an entirely unique way, word's going to get out. And that word-of-mouth marketing will work to your advantage when it comes to publicity. When journalists start reporting a story, they often ask people in their networks about the latest and greatest. And if word about your product or service gets around, journalists will inevitably hear about it. Secondly, you want to tailor your website to journalists. If you think that SEO is just for your customers, it's not. It's so anyone can find your information online, including journalists. When I'm looking for sources for a story, I always consult the internet. I want to make sure that I cast that net as wide as possible. In a recent story that I did about the best mural hotels in the country, I profiled 7. But you know how many I researched? Probably 3 or 4 times that many. And I wouldn't have found them in the first place without a hefty dose of internet research. So there's a lot you can do to make your website more useful to journalists, and I'll be talking more about that in a future video. For today, let's move on to number 3. Be findable on social media. Journalists are increasingly turning to social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, to develop story ideas and find sources for those stories. So if you need to handle your SEO equivalent for social media, aka hashtags, you have 30 hashtags available to you on Instagram, so be sure to devote a few of them to connecting with journalists on a topic you want them to cover for your business. For example, if you want to be featured as the best wedding photographer in Madison, Wisconsin, use hashtag Madison Wedding Photographer to help the media find you. If you want to be known as the most eco-friendly candle maker around, use hashtag eco-friendly candles or hashtag sustainable candles. This will help journalists find your social media accounts. I'll get into more details on that in a future video as well. Fourth, engage with journalists on social media. Now notice I said engage with journalists. I didn't say pitch. I suggest connecting with journalists before you need them. In other words, before you're going to want them to pick up your pitch. Follow the reporters, editors, producers, and anchors that you want to cover your story. Comment on the articles that they share with insightful, memorable comments. Share the articles that they create. The more journalists see your name, the more likely they are to remember you and your business when you're pitching. Now, a note here. Please do this with authenticity. Do it inauthentically or go overboard with it, and the journalist is still likely to notice, but just not in a good way. Plus, as you go about sharing and commenting on their articles, you'll be familiarizing yourself with the journalist's work, so you'll know what type of stories they find interesting. If or when you do go to pitch, you can better match your pitch to their interests. The fifth and last tip that I'll share with you today is join organizations that do publicity for you. Chambers of commerce and local tourism boards have their own publicity teams, and it's their jobs to do outreach for their members. Now, I realize that in some cases there is a membership fee to join these organizations, which raises the bar to entry considerably. I've also encountered highly effective organizations that consistently generate press for their members, and others where their members are disappointed after what they get out of it. I can speak from my own experience when I say that I work with destination marketing organizations and chambers of commerce on a daily basis, and that I've generated dozens of stories this year as a direct result of my work with them. However, I can't speak to the specific organizations near you. So if I were you, I would ask around, consult other people who've been members about what they've gotten out of it before you decide to jump in. Do you have questions for me about how to earn media without pitching? Ask them in the comments below and I'll be sure to respond. For more media pitch tips and strategies, visit howtopitchmedia.com. More to come in the future.